Welcome to the Cross the Line podcast. My name is Carlos Smith, and I have another special guest with me today. He is the offensive coordinator of the Lawrence Raiders, and right now I'm joined by Mr. Centel Peak. How you doing?
Doing good. Blessed to be here, man.
I'm glad to have you. I've been looking forward to this interview, another football mind, so I'm happy to kind of pick your brain. But starting off, just talk about a little bit about your season so far.
Well, so far we're 2-2. We played Clinton. We got off to a good start. Beat those guys 34-14. Thought we played well in the second half. We ended up scoring all 34 points in the second half. I thought that was a great sign for us. And we ran into a Myrtle Beach team who was ranked number 3 in 4A. And they were everything as advertised. The quarterback, Luke Doty, who is a 4-star recruit, committed to the Gamecocks. He played extremely well, and they have really good athletes on the outside and perimeter. And they ended up taking it to us. They got a great defense as well, and they took it to us and beat us down. So we ended up losing that game. Then we came back, played Hillcrest, had them in the first half down. They were down 17-14. They were ranked number 6 in 5A. Had them all the way into the end. It was 24-20 going into the fourth quarter. And then they got on the run. We made a few mistakes, ended up losing that game. So we ended up losing that game. We're 1-2 at that point. And then Thursday night, because of the hurricane threat, we ended up playing Wade Hampton, and we ended up beating them 35-10. So we're 2-2 on the season.
Is it hard to get players to buy into the system? Because everybody thinks, a lot of people think they know everything. So sometimes guys think they should run this play or that play, or fans, they think they know what you guys should run. But is it hard to get the players to buy into what you're preaching?
It's definitely difficult. You have a system, and kids see what's going on in the NFL or with college, and a lot of guys want to just spread the ball out and throw it, and get a lot of catches and stuff like that. And so, you have to sell the kids on winning as much as possible. You have to show them that you have a history of winning. Now, I've been fortunate enough to be in places where we've won, and so, we've been able to kind of get those kids to buy on board. But it took some time at Lawrence, and, it's my 3rd year, and I think we're finally starting to get guys to buy into what we're doing. So I changed a good bit from the last year because of the personnel we have. Just changed the offense a good bit, and we ended up losing a few guys who transferred out. Mm-hmm. But you just have to sell them on winning. We're gonna win if you just do your job, and we'll get you some touches.
Right. I know you said that you've been at Lawrence for 3 years, but how long have you actually been coaching, total?
This is my 15th season coaching. Yes, 15 years. I spent 10 years at Greenwood, spent 2 years at Emerald, and then 3 years here at Lawrence, and so 15 years there.
Greenwood is kind of like a football factory. You had Josh and DJ Swearinger and some other guys as well. But just to go back a little bit, you played at Newberry. You played at Newberry College, and then did you know right away after football that you wanted to? Did you know what you want to do right after football, like after your playing days?
Yeah, well, I did not. I went into Newberry College majoring in business, and I figured I would go to a big city and actually work in a business office in a business situation, and it didn't quite work out like that. Newberry College did a great job of setting up interviews for me and all of that stuff, but it didn't quite work out. So I ended up working at a place called Camp White Pines in Jonesville, South Carolina, and I worked there for 13 months. And I got to meet kids that were, they were in troubled situations and stuff like that. Kids that were just looking for somebody to give them some positive stuff. And it was a great experience for me, and it allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do and just reanalyze what my goals were going to be. And that's how I ended up saying, hey, I want to coach football and be a teacher and make a difference. So I ended up moving to Greenwood, just kind of by mistake, by happenstance. Mike Clowney saw him at a store one day, told him I was interested in coaching football. Mike told Coach Dula, who was my former coach at Union High School. We ended up linking up, talking about it. He sent me to the right direction, human resources, and they told me what I needed to do. So I did this program called a PACE program. It allowed me to get my certification, and then I was coaching from then on out, and that's how everything got going.
Would you consider those guys and anybody else like some of your mentors, or that helped you push you and guide you along the way?
Oh yeah, definitely. Mike Clowney is definitely a mentor for me. Mike coached at Greenwood when they won the back-to-back state championships in '99 and 2000, And Mike hired me at Emerald. After 3 years, I was at Greenwood. He hired me at Emerald as being offensive coordinator. So he kind of took me under his wing. And he's a fellow Union guy. He's a great linebacker at Union. Ended up playing at Carson Newman, and just kind of helped me along the way. Just one of those guys that took me under his wing and helped me.
Is it hard to be a teacher and coach? Because, a lot of times, but for the athletes, I know you have to go to class. It's mandatory that you go to class to get your education. But, they're really hyped up about playing in the games. But as a coach, is it hard to stay focused on teaching in the classroom? You have a big game ahead of you.
Yeah, it really is. And to be honest, when you want to be great at everything, you take everything serious. So as a teacher, I try to plan great lessons and stuff so the kids have fun, because honestly, when you plan great lessons, you have more fun in classroom. Right. Kids have more fun. And so it is pressure to plan great lessons, but at the same time, you're watching film, you're studying your opponent, you're trying to get tendencies, you're trying to learn as much as you can, you're trying to figure out what's going to be the plays to put your players in the best position to be successful. You got a million things going on, so it does get very difficult. And then me being married with 2 kids, you got to make sure you give them time. So it's a balance, and you work hard to keep that balance.
I was going to say, how do you try to balance it, or how many hours do you put into coaching? Because on the outside, we don't see anything. We just see the product on the field on Friday. How much time would you say that you actually spend just watching film and going over plays?
Oh, yeah. A coach can watch 7, 8, 9, 10 hours of film during a week, just trying to prepare for an opponent. You're studying everything from their last 3 games. You're studying your guys to see what they did well from the previous week. Yeah, you're trying to find weak spots. You spend a lot of time. So, we have a planning period as teachers, so I usually spend my entire planning period trying to study up film. We go to practice for 2.5 hours. After practice, you're having meetings with your players to try to, keep them positive and moving forward in the right direction. You're constantly, doing something with film, because you can watch film anywhere now. You can watch it on your iPad, on your phone. You can watch it anywhere. So you get home, you try to focus on your kids. You try to focus on your family and everything like that. So the balance is tough. And it's just one of those things you just got to get used to. You hope that your wife is on board. She has to be on board. Absolutely. So for you to be able to do these things, and I love her for that.
As an African American teacher and coach, do you feel like an obligation to be a father figure and a leader to the students and your athletes?
Well, I think that's just part of it, period, But definitely, as an African American, there's a lot of players that are African American who don't have a father figure. Mm-hmm. It happens more than people might believe, but and they need somebody to be a positive role model in their life. So I think it's very important. That's why I post a lot of pictures on social media of my kids and my wife and my family, and I talk about them so they know, hey, this is the way you want to do it. This is how you can be happy. You can have a family. You can do the right things. Maybe, your parents didn't do the right things, or maybe your father wasn't there and do the right things. But hopefully, you can take what you see, more than anything, and take that and put it in your life and make it a part of what you want to do.
And I think it's important because a lot of times we don't see a lot of African American teachers, and if we see it, it makes us feel like we can do the same thing. But why do you feel like we may not have as many African American teachers in the school system?
That's one of those things. It blows my mind. I think it starts with just making it important to get your education. Black people in general, you gotta make it important in your family. And when we get more people that say, hey, I'd rather do something that's not illegal, I'd rather do something that's gonna help my community versus I'm gonna do a bunch of selfish things, like sell drugs or do this right here. If we can start replacing those people that's doing that and get them to actually being teachers, then yes, we can get more teachers. And that's what I see with that,
Back to the field a little bit. Do you feel like this era right here is hard to get guys to buy in? Well, not necessarily buy in, but do you think the social media era has kind of spoiled players because it's like one big play and it's like they're like a overnight celebrity? Do you think social media era has kind of spoiled players?
You know, I think that's funny because we've talked about that as coaches. You know, guys are always looking for the highlight play, looking for the big play so that they can post it and all of that stuff. But really, colleges are looking for the whole system, the whole game, what you do throughout the whole game. But I think it has spoiled players. Players are looking for the big play, you know, so they kind of take their eye off of holding the ball correctly. They take their eye off of doing the little things like blocking properly and things like that, which ends up hurting them and also hurting the team. So I think it does hurt a little bit guys trying to get the big play rather than doing the whole thing.
And it's crazy because last month we went up to cover Chris Paul's Rising Stars Challenge, and all the kids there were going to the 9th grade, and some of the kids there, man, almost 7 feet tall, but just watching some of the highlights when they were telling me about some of the kids, I went and looked them up, and they would have like 20,000 views off of dunks they were doing. So it's like, man, these kids already feel like they've already made it.
Yeah.
So how do you try to keep kids humble and keep them grounded to where they focus on the team?
Well, I think it's a coaching style. You know, I think me personally, my coaching style is all about stay on them hard, stay on them. Hold them accountable for everything. Like a drop pass, push-ups. You're not holding the ball correctly, push-ups. You're doing anything that may hurt the team fundamental-wise is push-ups. So the kids, you know, it gets to the point to where they're not even thinking about it. They know, hey, I wasn't holding the ball correctly. I'm going to go ahead and do my push-ups, you know. And if you do that consistently, you can get your guys to focus in on doing the little things versus trying to find the highlights.
I saw you kind of floss your rings from Greenwood the other day. Do you think that them knowing that you have championships on your resume, do you think that helps them buy into what you preach to them?
Oh, most definitely. Kids buy into winning. They want the rings. They want the accolades. They want all of that stuff. So they buy into that stuff. I think it's important that they know, because kids don't know if you won a championship 3 years ago. They only know that what happened last year in the season. You know, they don't know if you won a championship 5 years ago, 10 years ago. You know, my team, fortunately, in 1995, we won a state championship at Union, and then turned around in 2006 at Greenwood. My third season of coaching, won the championship, and then 2012, when I went back to Greenwood, we ended up winning it again, and that was awesome. But none of the Lawrence kids knew that. You know, they don't know. They just like, hey, there's just another guy that's fussing at me all the time. And so you have to tell them, hey, you know, show them, you know, hey, there is the rhyme, there is a reason, and it is a progress. It is a process. So, hey, just stick with it, believe in it, and we can win championships at Lawrence also.
I want to talk about something that's one of the biggest things going on right now. One of the biggest topics in sports is the anthem protest with Colin Kaepernick. What's your take on the Colin Kaepernick taking a stand for the protest, doing everything? What do you think about the protest?
Well, I'm all about your First Amendment right. You know, I'm big on that. I think, and everybody that really believes in the United States and in our Constitution, they if they're honest, they'll believe in it too. They'll say, hey, you have a constitutional right. Now, on the other hand, yes, you do work for employers. But at the same time, you will hope that those employers have an understanding that, hey, I got these guys, I want to keep them happy to a certain degree and let them exercise their rights as they need to. And you know, me personally, I'm not taking a knee at this point in time in my career. But I definitely ain't the type of person that says you shouldn't have the ability to do that. So I believe in the First Amendment right, and I believe they have the right to be able to do that. And it shouldn't be somebody trying to dictate or tell them what to do.
Just wondered, so your players come to you and they say, Coach, we see everything that's going on in the community and we don't like it. We want to take a knee like Kaepernick. What would you tell them to do?
If they give me a legitimate reason why they want to do that, then I can understand. Because again, I believe in the First Amendment right. I believe in your right to protest, and that's a big part, especially as an African American. That's a big part of our history and how we became what we are right now. Civil rights and all of that stuff. Nobody liked the way that Rosa Parks protest. You know, they like, hey, get out of that seat. What are you doing? You know, nobody wanted Martin Luther King to be out there. You know, so they threw him in jail. You know. When you protest, you're going to rub people the wrong way. A lot of people are going to not like it and all that stuff, but that's it's supposed to be the beauty of America is that you have these different rights and constitutional rights.
But and I agree, because I think the message, well, it has gotten lost. A lot of people are not paying attention to why Kaepernick took the knee against police brutality against people of color. They just say that he's being disrespectful to the flag. Why do you think? What do you think is that disconnection? Why do you think that's the problem?
Well, I think a lot of people change the narrative, and I can't tell you exactly why they would want to change the narrative. You know, I can give you hints and clues and all of that stuff, but that would be me speculating. But you know, people change the narrative because they don't like the story. They don't like the way that things are going with the story. They, you know, maybe they're trying to cover something up. Maybe they don't want you to see the light. You know, whatever it might be. And I, like, again, I can't speculate on why, but for whatever reason, the narrative is being changed, and it's unfortunate because there is a real issue out there. You know, even me personally, you know, I tell people all the time, I say, you know, I had a situation where I was pulled over and I was taken out, told to get out of my car for no reason, without even, I wasn't speeding, I wasn't given a reason why I was told to get out of my car. I just told to get out of my car, searched, took it to the back, trying to search my car, which is a violation of my Fourth Amendment right. Say, you know, you can't search my car. You don't have the right to do that. You know, well, I can search my car, search your car. I can go make sure I can search your car. So, and I imagine these stories, my story was never told. I imagine there's a lot of stories that's never been told that are issues. These are real issues. And people like to point in and say, hey, well, it's not happening at that large scale. Oh, we don't have the statistics behind what you're protesting. Well, my story ain't part of the statistics. A lot of people's story is not part of the statistics, but we know what's happening. So, you know, understand what's really going on. And I hate that, you know, people try to change the narrative, but hopefully they'll understand that if you meet some people and actually talk to them, you'll understand there is an issue sometimes.
And I had an interaction with one of my friends on Facebook the other day, and I was telling him it's not, they always say he's being disrespectful, but they're not telling why he took the knee. Should we still try to interact with those people and try to get them to understand why why he took a stand, or should we just, you know, just if they don't get it, they just don't get it? Because sometimes it's like they don't try to understand, like you were saying. Should we still try to get them to understand where he's coming from at this point?
I think it's a slow process, to be honest with you. I don't think you should just disconnect from those people. I think you should still try to just kind of let them see you. You know, as an African American, let them see you for who you are, and let them start to slowly, hopefully, come around. You know, it's unfortunate that some people come around slower than others, but at the same time, I think if there becomes a disconnect, then you never have the hope that they might come around. So I think you should continue to try to keep that relationship alive, keep that connection alive, but at the same time, you know where you stand, and right now they know where they stand, and hopefully there'll be some type of, you know, happy medium that comes about.
With the protests, I know that some people were feeling some type of way about with Nike. Some people were saying that they feel like they're just trying to make money. Of course, when you're in business, you want to make money, but do you feel like they may be trying to exploit the situation and that's all they're thinking about, or do you think they really care about the situation with police brutality?
Honestly, I mean, I think Nike is number one about making money. I mean, that's number one, first and foremost. I think secondly, though, they also understand, you know, and really with Nike, it made me feel like at least they were willing to stand in there, whereas a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to stand in there, I don't want to go against the majority. Well, like the NFL, I don't want to go against the majority, you know, even though it might be the right thing to do to go with the minority, but when the money talks, but Nike didn't worry about that. You know, I think they're more worried about, hey, freedom of expression and things like that. I think they're more of a progressive company, and maybe they don't care, but who knows? I mean, they cared enough to stick by Kaepernick. So.
The thing that would make some people wonder, and I'm happy that they stood by his side. They were like, well, what took them so long to do it? And then they had other companies bidding. But I'm just happy that they finally, you know, they joined in with Kaepernick, and hopefully they, you know, like you said, they do something about it. Like maybe do you think they should kind of take some of the money, and I'm sure they probably do something with would take some of the money they make, profit off of it, and just donate it to his charity?
That's an option for him. I mean, I think it would say a lot about, you know, what they truly believe in if they did, you know, donate to his charity or whatnot. You know, there's one thing to say, hey, let's make him the face and make a lot of money, because you know a lot of people who's kind of, I would say, hip or urban or whatever loves Nike, but it's another thing to say, hey, we're going to take this money and put it towards this thing. Now, that really would make a statement, you know.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's go to college football and talk a little bit about college football. I know you like Clemson, right?
That's right.
All right. How do you think they're doing so far? Do you think they'll ultimately get to the playoffs?
I think Clemson's going to make the playoffs. I think so far it's been kind of a fill it out type of situation. You know, they're trying to work with the two quarterbacks, trying to fill it out. You know, Trevor Lawrence being the talent, Kelly Bryant being the guy that led them to 12 wins last year. I mean, and he has a different skill set than Trevor Lawrence. You know, but you got to figure out, and Clemson is just trying to figure out, hey, we got a great defense. Do we want a quarterback who's going to give us that run and it's going to allow us to win these grinded out games, or do we want that pizzazz, throw it down the field and try to get, you know, big plays in the passing game and keep the wide receivers happy and all of that stuff? They're just trying to figure that out. And they learned a lot about themselves last week against Texas A&M, because, you know, Texas A&M was able to blitz like crazy against Trevor Lawrence because they knew he was kind of a sitting duck back there, whereas against Kelly Bryant, you have to attack him differently. Yeah, so they had to attack him differently. So Clemson's going to have to feel it out for the next few games and figure out, hey, which direction do we want to go with this season, because that means a lot towards making the playoffs.
And I think, for me, I'm not the biggest Kelly Bryant fan. I think he's okay. He's definitely not Deshaun, but I think with Clemson's schedule and the talent that they have so many pieces around them. I think they'll be fine. They should. I think I'll go ahead and give him a nod as getting back into the playoffs. And I think T. Higgins, I think he'll turn into a star as well. But who would you say would be your other playoff teams if you had to take a swing at it?
Oh yeah, I believe Alabama, Ohio State, and preseason I thought Washington, but I'm kind of moving away from Washington a little bit, because after watching Georgia against South Carolina, oh man, they're impressive. So I think Georgia, they have a chance to get right back in it.
I actually thought that South Carolina was going to win the East this year. I thought we had the firepower, which I still do think with Shy and Debo and Brian Edwards. I think we had some pieces, you know, on offense to go at it with anybody. But then the way Georgia just took us apart, you know, I'm almost off the Bentley bandwagon now, because he's getting a little bit shaky to me. It's like this was one of those games where I was looking for him to make a statement, but he just didn't do it. But for me, I would say, of course, Alabama, Clemson, maybe Ohio State, and then, you know, I like West Virginia with real. I think they got a chance to make a little bit of noise, but you know, it's still a long shot. But while we're on college, do you think these guys should also get paid?
College guys getting paid? Honestly, I think they should. But to a degree, they are getting paid. It's some of the hidden money that you don't see. You know? When college players travel, they get these little stipends. When college players go to different bowl games, when they do different things, they get money in different ways. You may not know, but they also, you know, of course, get their full scholarship. But they get extra meals that most guys don't get. You know, they get that fourth meal that most people don't get. So they get a lot of extra things, you know. And you have to look at college football. It's interesting. There's pageantry, there's things that go along with the tradition that also brings in the crowds as well. So it ain't just all the players, but I think at the same time, I think they can up that little stipend a little bit, that supplement that they get a little bit, so they can get a little bit of piece of that pie.
Because to me, it's like it's only crumbs to what the NCAA is making off of these guys for selling jerseys and T-shirts and all of this gear that they have, and the players don't get as much. So I'm like, if they go out there and, you know, tear the ACL or something and just ruin their career, look at Marcus Lattimore, even though he's still successful, it's like it's nothing compared to the money they could have made. So that's why I wish it was something in place to where those guys could kind of profit off of. And I just remember a story with Ben Simmons was at LSU playing basketball. He said, he would have practice and go to class, and then they would grab him and tell him, we need you to go do a photo shoot for us. And his jersey in the bookstore, but none of the money comes to him. So it's like he just felt like he was being exploited. So he knew then pretty much, this was going to be it for him. Would you have any kind of suggestions of what they could do?
Well, I think an alternative would be like they can have those kind of book signings or jersey signings or things of that nature, and they can take all the money that they get from that, put it in a fund, and so when they finish college or when they decide to leave to go wherever they're going to go, give them that money that they've earned from signing jerseys, give them the money they earned from all those different things where they had to do stuff that were required. They got to sign jerseys, they got to do this. Put that money, charge people $10, or charge people $20 to sign a helmet. Charge people money for that. And then at the end, the people that are the best players, the most popular players, the ones that people come to see, will be able to get a big chunk of money when they leave college, even if they get hurt, even if they don't make it and do good in the NFL.
I think my mentality was a little bit different. I was hoping. I know Jay Williams said that during basketball he wanted to see the players do a protest at the Final Four and not play. My idea was, it might have been a little bit crazy, was to say, if all the key stars who know they were going to potentially be first round picks in the draft, maybe if all those guys just stop and sign jerseys and do their own thing and sell again, get suspended or whatever, and just take a stand and say, look, we're doing this because we don't have any money and we have families and our parents are struggling or whatever. And I think that was something that get them to realize, okay, we need to do something. And then of course the NFL doesn't care about it. If you can play, they're still going to pick you up, no matter if you sell jerseys, t-shirts or whatever. If you can play, they'll still pick you up. But that was my idea. But I don't know how the guys would come together. I mean, social media is powerful, but I don't know how those guys would come together and say, I want to do the same thing, just sell some gear, and all of us just sit out.
Yeah, I mean, they can all get on board. They can make a difference in a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different things that can be done, that college football, college basketball, whatever, that could change. I always said, if all the guys got together for college football, North Carolina A&T or South Carolina State would be the national champions. But guys don't get together like that. But if they wanted to, they could get together and make a difference. But it's very hard. The structure for college football and basketball has already been set up, and they're living lavish. We might not see it, but they're living lavish and they're feeling good. And in America, it's a capitalistic mindset. If I'm doing well, people are not usually worried about others, especially at the age of 18, 19, 20, 21. Unless you have a parent that is like really, really, really about making a difference, then you're gonna just do what's best for you. And they treat them very well, to the point that where they don't even think about that half of the time.
All right, let's switch to the NFL real quick. I know you like the pros as well, and you're a Redskins fan, right?
That's right.
Talk about the Redskins. Got a big win the first week. Talk about your Redskins.
Well, I think the Redskins have done a great job of drafting where they were weak at. A few years ago they were very bad at stopping the run, and so they picked up Jonathan Allen last year, and then they picked up Deron Payne from Alabama, and that was kind of paying dividends. We lost Kirk Cousins in free agency, and I remember talking to Josh about that, Josh Norman, and Josh was good with it. He was like, hey, he wants so much money, and sometimes that cripples a team. You look at Baltimore from a few years back.
I'm a Ravens fan.
Oh, when they paid Joe Flacco, they suffered for a few years for that.
Still suffering now.
So I think it was a good deal to be able to get Alex Smith from the Chiefs with the trade, and I think that was wonderful, and we saw that pay dividends week one. I think getting Chris Thompson back and the tight end Jordan Reed back, it was huge, and I think the Redskins are on their way to making the playoffs this season.
The one thing I give you about the Redskins, well, I'm rooting for AP. I like AP. I want him to do well and just shatter the mold to show that a running back at his age can still play at a high level. But I don't see where Alex Smith has improved the team over Kirk Cousins. Me personally, I think I would rather have Kirk Cousins, even though he's he's still shaky. I'm not big on Kirk Cousins, but Alex Smith is just kind of like a game manager. He won't cost you a game, but at the same time, he won't necessarily win you a game as well. Do you feel like he upgraded the team?
Well, I don't think it's an upgrade. I think it's even. But they were able to save some money, which is huge when it comes to getting a player here and a player there. Because those little players, they mean something. You know, you look at even with the Jets, with Sharon Peake, being on special teams, being able to get him for a certain price. You get those guys that's going to work hard for under $1 million. Hey, that means something. So saving $5 million, it means something. But going back to Adrian Peterson, I think that was a huge pickup. That guy, he can play as long as we limit his carries and whatnot. He still can play. He still can run. I think Arizona just wore him out last year, and he just wasn't a good fit with the Saints. But I think he's a great fit with the Redskins because we have 3 backs that can carry the load, and so he don't have to take as many hits, and he can be a real factor as long as he's healthy. So, and defensively, I didn't even talk about the Redskins defensively. DJ Swearinger played at Greenwood for me. You know, he talks mad trash. If you know anything about him, he gets you out of your game just from talking trash. You know, and so he's been a key mouthpiece for the defense. And Josh has just kind of been solid. You know, just quietly covering his guy. And you know, he hasn't been making as much noise, so he doesn't get the camera time like he used to.
Right.
He's just quietly doing his job right now.
I talked to Sharon when I did his interview. I remember I was talking to him about Swearinger. You remember the Monday night game against Arizona when he went across the middle, and I was like, man, Fitzpatrick kind of set him up for the kill with that hit. So Swearinger, he's a thumper though. But do you think the Redskins, you guys will make the playoffs this year?
I really do believe we'll make the playoffs. I think we got a good chance. I think the NFC East is not as great as it usually is in the past. The Cowboys are down a little bit. The Giants, they kind of a wait and see type of deal. And yes, Philadelphia won the championship, but we don't. You don't have to beat Philadelphia to make the playoffs.
Right.
You want to win the division, yes, but you can still make the playoffs without beating them. And I think we got a chance to split with them at least anyway.
I'm just not. I just can't buy into Alex Smith. That's my only thing. I can't really buy into Alex. I think Philly, when Carson Wentz, whenever he comes back, I still think Foles can keep him afloat. But I think Philly, I want to say maybe they'll probably win the division, and then the Giants. Redskins and the Giants will be that team, the second team fighting for a wild card spot. But who would you say for your Super Bowl prediction? Who would you have for that overall?
Well, that's a tough question. I think you got to make the Eagles the favorite just because of what they did last year. But at the same time, you look at the LA Rams. They made improvements on their team, and you look at and I like what the Redskins have done. I wouldn't pick them to win the Super Bowl, but I like what they've done, and you never know. You might catch lightning in a bottle. I mean, look at Nick Foles. He caught lightning in a bottle. The Minnesota Vikings are very good. I think they got a chance. So if I had to narrow it down in the NFC, I would say, the Rams, the Eagles, and the Vikings are the 3 teams you got to watch out for. And then you always in the AFC, you got to watch the Patriots. They're going to be tough. The Chargers are the trendy pick of everybody. We saw what they did last week. They got their butts handed to them by the Chiefs. So you just kind of never can tell. But the Patriots, you always got to keep them on top, because until you knock off the man, the man is still the man.
You think my Ravens got a shot?
I think the Ravens are tough, but I don't know about a Super Bowl.
I think we're done. I don't even think we'll make the playoffs. I'm ready. Honestly, I'm ready for the Joe Flacco era to come to an end. Yeah. Because I knew what was going to happen Thursday night. He had a great game Sunday, and then he'll come back the next game and just lay an egg. And I don't even get mad at him anymore, because I know he is who he is. He'll show up, and then next thing you know, he'll just fall apart. But I just want us to we'll probably end up around 5-5 around the late stretch of the season, and then he'll try to win a couple games here and there. But I just think we need to slowly implement Lamar Jackson. But I'm just pretty sure after this year, I think Joe Flacco is going to be. This is going to be it for him. I hope so anyway. I really don't want us to bring him back. Maybe y'all will take him off our hands.
Nah, we're good. We got Alex for a couple of years here, and we're going to roll with that.
But yeah, he really hurt our team, though, like you saying, when we gave him that money. We just had to let a lot of guys go, paying that big money. Then he hasn't even lived up to it. So it just kind of hurt our team. But one last question. What is your ultimate goal?
Well, my ultimate goal is to become a head coach at the right time. And the biggest thing is I've been trying to make sure I go at the right time, because you need a great opportunity. You want an opportunity to win. You know, places where, you know, it's very difficult to win are places that don't have tradition, places that don't have, you know, the athletes that you might need to win. And so you're trying to find that perfect opportunity. But right now, I just want to be a head coach, eventually be the athletic director, because I got that business background, and help the program consistently win championships, you know. And in my teaching realm, you know, I just want to continue to make sure that students are becoming something, have a goal to be something, you know, educate them to the best of my ability, allow them to have fun with it, and try to motivate them to be more than just average. You know, be the next doctor, be the next politician that makes a difference, be the next, you know, somebody who makes a difference in this world, and not just talk about it, you know.
Well, Centel, I thank you, and good luck this year. Do you have any social media or any advice that you want to give people listening?
Well, I mean, I'm on Twitter. I think it's at SENTELL112. You can follow me there. Hopefully y'all will keep up with Lawrence football. I think we're about to get rolling here. I'm looking forward to some of the games coming up. We got Greenwood at Greenwood Friday night, so maybe check that out. After that, West Side, a few games after that. So, hey, keep up with us, Lawrence football 2018. Trying to make some noise right here.
All right, thank you, Centel. And also, thank you to the people here at Lyman City Music. Make sure you check those guys out. If you need any kind of guitars or any kind of quality audio, make sure you check them out. Thank you guys for letting us borrow your facility. And until next time, keep chasing dreams. This is Cross the Line Podcast. Thank you for listening.